Hello everybody and welcome into my personal list of the best games of 2015. Before we get into the list, let's talk about 2015. 2015 is a rather depressing year of video games, to be honest, especially in the realms of next-gen titles. Why? Well, I've checked on this year's list and half of them are indie games, which, great for indie games, but does that mean that the big guys are gonna die? Does that mean that the big companies are just gonna sell out? Okay, they are selling out, but does that mean that we're gonna witness the death of gaming? I mean, seriously, look at the big companies' track records in 2015. Ubisoft still does the same thing that they did last year and just could not take a break to the point where they can even step once into Arkham Asylum. EA does the same thing that Ubisoft did, but 10 times worse. Bethesda doesn't learn from their past mistake and still make games in which the users have to be the one to patch it. Konami has gone completely full anti-gamer and just freaking flipped their middle fingers out in public. Sega deletes their classic games off of mobile for some goddamn freaking reason. Bungie is nothing but a huge freaking sellout. Square Enix stabbed themselves by announcing an episodic Final Fantasy VII. Sony's exclusive titles are nothing but disappointments. My most anticipated game of the year completely freaking backfires and burns my PC into its core. Even Telltale, one of my favorite game developers of all time, is selling out right now for games that I really thought weren't that spectacular and sometimes even moronic. What happened to AAA? Freaking seriously. We're gonna talk about the big bad guys next week. Don't worry. We'll talk about them. For now, let's talk about the good stuff. Don't worry. As bad as 2015 might be, the good stuff are really damn good. Keep in mind that these are just my personal picks of the best games of 2015 this year. Instead of posting why this game is in here, why not post your own top games of 2015 in the comments down below? Share your passion of video games and the love to specific games that you have found this year to the comments below. Even if it is pretty difficult for you, and I can understand how difficult it is for this year. Without further ado, let's get into my personal top 10 best games of 2015. Number 10. Dying Light. What? I love this game. I enjoyed every moment of it. I played tons and tons and tons of times over, and it's a tons of fun. But it's probably because I love first-person platforming, I love first-person running, I love first-person parkour, crafting, open-world exploration, and most importantly, zombie killing. We're never gonna get tired of that. The game's melee system is superb and entertaining. The gunplay is also really well, and my favorite, this game's parkour is incredibly entertaining. Not perfect, but still incredibly entertaining. I love first-person platforming, and I love zombie killing. Dying Light gives me exactly both and more. Number 9. Soma. While this isn't really as scary as Amnesia, this is a legitimately scary game made by the developers of Amnesia that takes it around into the sci-fi underwater genre. And like any other games by Frictional Games, the writing is surprisingly rich and detailed. The universe that you are in has a lot of interesting things to find, and the environment and scenery are beautiful and sometimes even scary to look at. If you want another horror game and you're afraid of underwater monsters, this game is definitely for you. Just be ready to have spare pants on the side of your computer. Number 8. Rocket League. Why? Simple. It's a ton of freaking fun. Plus local co-op. Praise the Lord for local co-op. This game is fun, challenging, and it's going to utilize a lot of your reflexes and skills in order to master it. It's an amazingly fun game on its own, and I incredibly loved it. This game teaches you in how to use the tools that you have and use it to your advantage. This game is everything that I want and I need for a game that utilizes the player's skills more so than anything else. It is highly competitive and absolutely compelling. Buy this game right now. Number 7. volume. This game comes from the developers of one of my favorite games of all time, Thomas Was Alone. While the experience is not as rich as Thomas, it is still a genuinely engaging experience. Volume is a very bleak but still colorful sci-fi stealth puzzle in which you navigate through the levels in a stealth game kind of way. Instead of treating it as a stealth game, Volume treats itself as a puzzle game, and both the stealth and puzzle works out really well together. The game is so engaging, I actually legitimately cannot stop playing. When I finished one level, it's just a trigger for me to finish another one. It's a fantastic game all the way through, with a brilliant narration, once again like in Thomas, and I highly recommend it. Number 6. Broforce. I can't really say anything about this game anymore. This game is the manifestation of awesomeness. It's a 2D shooter in which you play 80s action hero in a scarily large behemoth of action-packed, spectacular freaking magnitude of a game. If you're not up to playing this game by yourself, go and play this game with your friend. Local co-op. This game rocks the entire world, and I cannot say anything to just freaking play this game. Yeah, exactly what that dog said. Number 5. Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Talk about a solid game. This game is extremely solid. The game mechanics are some of the best I've seen in a Metal Gear Solid game. The game's story is admittedly not as memorable as the last Metal Gear Solid game, and the ending is a load of absolute nonsense, but the gameplay is still excellent. Even though the story isn't great, the visual presentation is just freaking amazing. Notice how the cutscenes are all in one shot. That is strange. I thought only movies do that. Not only that, but the PC version is a freaking cheetah. This game runs incredibly smooth on my laptop, and it is an amazing port and all around like ground zeros. It is a pretty long game too. I played this game for like 30 hours and can only manage to get to mission 11 out of 45. Metal Gear Solid 5 is a wonderful closure to the Metal Gear Solid franchise, and despite what a lot of people say, this being not a true Metal Gear Solid game, which I can totally understand, it is still an excellent tactical espionage operation game that you should at least play once. Screw Konami, hail Kojima, buy this game. Number 4. Fallout 4. What I really hate about Fallout 4 is the second half of the game that does what New Vegas did, but completely missed the entire point, and Bethesda's lack of permanent memory that can remind them that their games have been traditionally buggy and poorly optimized in release, and Fallout 4 is the worst offender of them all. Despite of all the technical issues, Fallout 4 is still an incredibly entertaining game with surprisingly engaging writing, interesting characters, and all-around great experience. And just like any other games made by Bethesda, they're incredibly life-consuming and will literally eat days of your life. It took me like 44 hours total to beat this game, and I skipped a lot of side quests throughout. I haven't even counted the times where I replayed the game. The mods of this game are insane, and they're coming in even though the tools are very limited. So once the GEC tool for this game has been released, which is early in 2016, like any other Bethesda game, it is definitely gonna have a pretty long lifespan. Nothing much to say other than it's freaking Fallout 4. Number 3. Cities Skylines. This game is everything that the last SimCity could not be. This game is everything that Cities XL wanted to be. This game is the definition of a city builder. This game is every bit of a perfect city builder that you can imagine. The game is constantly updated with tons of stuff. Like the old SimCity, there are tons of mods. Their management modules are incredibly spectacular. Even though I absolutely suck at this game, what I admire about this game is that the game feels like it was made by the people who are legitimately passionate about the city building genre. It's a product of heart and passion, and I cannot tell how refreshing that is to find in this sort of stuff in 2015. Just freaking incredible. Even if you're not a fan of city building games, you should definitely check this game out. Number 2. Life is Strange. Aside from its mesmerizing and beautiful graphics, the game puts you in a character with time travel mechanics that is not only incorporated in the plot, but also incorporated in the gameplay. The adventure game mechanics are nothing but the incredibly simple and streamlined approach of the Telltale games, mixed in a lot of additional things that put this game more than its face value. I love the addition to the diary and the phone text, and also minor decisions that the game does not tell you at all, which increases replayability. However, what this game does sell to me is the beautiful story of friendship, mystery, time travel, disaster, disaster, cliched high school drama, and most importantly, the theme of the entire game, which is rejection and denial. A lot of people say that both endings basically ruins the entire game, which is true for one ending, but for the other one, they miss that the point of the entire game is the journey and the acceptance of the character Max Caulfield, easily one of my new favorite female characters with a likable personality and a relatable goal. Even if you don't want to play this game, you need to at least experience it once just so that you can feel the experience. And now for my number one game. This year has been quite the blast. Tons of things happen and tons of games I've played and enjoyed. However, out of all the games that I have played this year, there's only one game that really stood out from my mind. And that game is in my number one spot. Number one. I'm sorry that my number one pick is predictable, but this game deserves to be on my number one spot. It just oozes creativity and passion and heart and everything that I want from video games. I honestly thought that this game is going to be underwhelming, but the absolutely simple story, the surprisingly scary and unexpectedly dark humor, and the spectacularly done shift between lighthearted and dark-hearted moments make Undertale to be a spectacular achievement. In terms of the gameplay, this is a game that makes modern Japanese RPGs look like garbage in comparison. This game is a huge example of one thing that I believe in every video game ever: you don't need good graphics to be amazing. Undertale is worth every single penny and a whole lot more than that. Go and buy this game right now. So that's all for my top 10 best games of 2015 list. What are your top games of 2015 list? Comment below and let me know all about it. And as always, if you like this video, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.